because I drew all the time, everyone always supported the fact that I was going to do something with art. My parents were very supportive. My dad was an accountant, so he was always dealing with money. So he was always worried about how I was going to make my money, but he always wanted all of his kids to do, what we wanted to do. And so I had no idea what I was going to do with my art when I was in high school. And I had a very bad college guidance counselor when I was in high school. And she gave me terrible advice. Like, I grew up in New Jersey, and so I was told I couldn't apply to any schools in California because that's too far away. And I couldn't apply to any schools in New York City because that's too dangerous, of course. And so I was allowed to apply to like two schools. And I was also allowed to apply to a school called the Rhode Island School of Design, even though I was told I wouldn't get in because it's the hardest school to get into. And so I got into one of the other schools I was allowed to apply to, and I didn't know anything. I didn't think about one thing or another. And I was going to go to this other school, but at the last minute, RISD sent me, Rhode Island School of Design, sent me an envelope saying, "Congratulations, you've been accepted." And so suddenly I was like, all right, I guess I'll go to RISD. And RISD has an open policy with Brown University, which is right next door in Providence. And so you can take classes or do activities at either school. And so I went to RISD and I became an illustration major, but only because at the time there were no requirements for being an illustration major because I did not want to be a children's book illustrator. In high school, people actually used to tell me I should be a children's book illustrator, which I think kind of annoyed me. And so by the time I got to college, I had decided I definitely was not going to be a children's book illustrator. And I started doing more theater up at Brown University. And I did some acting, and I had a friend who also was in the theater there, and he said, "Well, Brian, you act and you go to Rhode Island School of Design where you do art, so you must do set design. You must, design the things for the stage, the scenery." And I said, "No, I've never done that." And he said, "Oh, well, I'm directing the show called The Bald Soprano. I'd love for think about designing it." And we literally took out a napkin, and he told me what the show was about, and I started making sketches, and we ended up building what I designed, and it was kind of a hit. And suddenly I was a set designer. And I was like, oh, this is perfect because it combines my love of theater with my love of art. And so I was going to be a set designer, and I was very excited about that. And I was going to go to grad school for set design, and I was all set to do that. And I didn't get into the set design graduate program that I really wanted to get into. And I found out you usually have to apply a couple of times for that. But I thought, you know what, maybe this is a sign. Maybe I need to just back off a little bit. And so I traveled around Europe for a while, which was great. And while I traveled, I drew and I wrote stories. And when I got back, I realized, I really love to draw and I really love telling stories. And I have always loved kids. And so I was like, oh no, I think I am supposed to be a children's book illustrator. But